That.
Hey, Casey. What's up, Kevin?
Just making sure everything's connected. Okay, good. We're good.
Can you hear me correctly? Like clearly?
Yeah, you're good. I'm just going to turn on my volume. It's been a minute since I've been on live with anybody. It's like a
Okay.
rare
No
occurrence.
problem. No problem. All right. So let me just make the announcement.
Yeah,
We're here live today, Thursday, 8 p.m. EST, and it's the Martine Show. And we're here with Mr. Kevin Touch, known as KT, K Touch. He's from the Rizzle app, and he is here on his interview with me today. He's going to be talking about himself, his endeavors, a few projects that he's been working on. He's pretty much more like a quiet storm, which I love very much. People who are just so focused, very purposeful, and just doing their thing, And we know that's what KT is all about. So we're going to wait for some people to come through at the same time. Please be sure to be ready with your questions for Kevin because he has a lot in store. So based on what he shares, definitely I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions. Hi, Sagoon97. I hope I'm saying it correctly.
my man
So,
Charlie. Thanks for popping in, buddy. I
oh,
appreciate it.
okay. And so now, if you want to wait a little bit before you introduce yourself, or if you want to introduce yourself, it's basically your show. I'm here as the facilitator. So you just let me know when you're gonna be ready to go through and everything. If you want to share it out, you can share it out. I just shared it as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. That's always good to come.
Okay, no problem. So meanwhile, I'm gonna let everybody know the Martine Show basically is a show where we talk about social media awareness and we promote everyone pretty much started from the Rizzle app. Now it's emerging to non-Rizzle members starting from like next month. We're going to have a lot of non-Rizzle interviews coming through. So what we do is we promote people, we celebrate people here. And Casey's going to be here talking about himself, his projects, and anyone who's interested in the possibility of having an interview with me, by all means, just reach me in the inbox right here on Instagram. The show runs on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. EST on Instagram at this current time. What's up, Ricky? Welcome aboard. Thank you for supporting KT.
What's up, Ricky? How's everything going, buddy? Charlie, appreciate you guys coming. I guess I'll just introduce myself. It's been a couple of I got a clock next to me, so that's always good on time.
Go ahead.
So, Martine said, my name's Kevin Touch. No one calls me that. Everyone knows me by KT or K Touch. I got that nickname from 6th grade. My buddy said, "Yo, you should go by the name KT," and I'm like, "Well, okay, that's my name now." Whatever. I'm not gonna. I'm one of those people like you say it, I'll make it happen. But
Yeah.
that's how I got my name. I've done a lot of things. I had my own brand, the UP. I designed 2 shoes. I joined Rizzle as Martine said. Took a little break from that. I'll talk about that in a minute. Started the Social Detox, started the Human Touch podcast. Looking to relaunch the Anchor Nation. I'm going to say next year, but I'm going to try to shoot for the end of this year. I started that back in 20, interviewing people. So, similar to this, but just on a podcast, a variant. What else have I been doing? I'm up to a lot. Let's see. Joined a new club called Clubhouse. Been really good networking. I'm going to talk about that in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a couple of personal runs. I'll talk a little bit about that, about what I learned there. Out here in the Jersey Shore.
Oh, you in New Jersey? Okay. So you're not far from me. I'm in New York.
Oh yes, yeah. We're not. How far away from? About 80 minutes away from the city. That's it. So.
Okay.
With COVID, though, everything, we'll talk
Yeah,
about that.
I know.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. That's really all I got. I mean, I have so much to really share.
As an intro, but we know you got a whole lot in that bag. Okay, I know a whole lot's gonna be coming out. What's up, Erica? Thank you so much for supporting us, Erica Gideon. Mitch Savage is in the house. Welcome aboard, everybody. Wow, Casey just introduced himself. He's just waiting for a little bit more people to come through because, like I said, KT is a quiet storm. Okay, guys, he has a lot in his bag. So, and I'm sure he's one of those people who does not want to like repeat and repeat. So,
Have too
let's just give him a little bit of time, and he's gonna go through the whole spiel. We have a lot to talk about because he's one of those guys that just involved in so many great constructive projects, and there's just so much. It's going to be very fruitful up in here.
Yeah, GQ, what's up? You guys just make sure if you can pin that comment, Martine. Just you guys can ask any question. I'm a man of
Okay.
peace. I don't. I'm not scared. I don't bite. I mean, I may
Yeah.
be.
KT is telling us that we can ask him any questions. He has no issue. He's an open book. So by all means, what's up, GQ? So by all means, feel free to ask those questions.
What's up, guys? Appreciate. GQ. Hope everything's well. Rob, what's up? Appreciate you joining, man.
Hi, Rob Green.
Some of these guys, I sent some invites, and some are just joining by referral. That's nice. Good to see. All right, send some more invites. There we go.
Yeah, they're trickling. They're trickling in. They're trickling in.
How much, man? How you been doing, man? How's everything with you?
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I've been consistent with the show. Hey, Gary. Been consistent with the show, moving it forward, and now it's opening to non-Rizzle members. So February interviews, there's going to be a few non-Rizzle members moving forward, and still continue to do Rizzle and stuff, and do these interviews. I'm also on another app called Clapper, where I'm doing a healing ministry over there. I'm
Nice.
doing my YouTube, which is like women's channel, women's health, another type of healing ministry going on there, and I do this show, so I'm pretty busy.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good for you, Martine. For real. But I'll tell you. All right, GQ. Well, that's a good question. So my finger reels. Yeah. That. So if you ever watch Disney, Disney has that magic the wand, right? I wanted to do a finger back in the day. I figured instead of just doing regular finger reels, kind of, I don't have the creative magic like some of these TikTok, Instagram reelers do. So I just use my fingers and I just write in cursive. So here I'll do it. Like I'll do so G and then Q. That's it. Just it's like a signature. It's like a signature. I'll just do K and T. So I put it in a reel. I haven't been doing that lately because I'm going to talk about a new app I've been on, Clubhouse. But that's going to come back soon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the fans want. Listen, you guys can say anything. If you guys like that, let me know. I'll bring it back. I have a very open dialogue with my fans as far as content strategy. Whatever you guys want me to do, I'm an open book. Recently, I've been posting a lot of nature pics in this wild cold out here. It's pretty cold. It's not like down there warm and you can enjoy the beach. You have to pick the select days out here with the cold temperatures. But good question, GQ. The honest answer is I just went and did it. I really didn't care about opinions. I just went out there, had fun, and people stuck with it. And that's what really social should be about. It really should be about having fun, creating what you believe in. Not so much a filter or anything. Make sure it's real, authentic. And that's what I do with those finger posts. It's fun. It's my way of saying let me have fun because I'm not always going to be fun at times because I'm a very quiet in a way. But when you get the old saying, right, when you get me in the room with right people, I'll open up like a book. When you get
Absolutely.
and I knew it. Yeah, see, that's exactly it. It's just cursive. It's fun fact. I know how to write cursive, which they taught me back in second grade. So it always stuck with me, and I love it, man. Cursive it's such an art. I'll talk about it again, but I feel like when you have cursive, you can almost create your mind, and you're more self-aware of what's going on. So that's why I like to write in cursive because it's like calligraphy. You get more of a creative flow going.
I actually love it. I love your videos with it. I love seeing it. It's very refreshing. It's captivating. It's positive. and you give like a whole different image, a whole different allure on social media because you're the only person. I think it's very unique. You're the only person that I know of that's actually doing that, you know? And I think that's something that you should continue doing. I think it's part of your branding, part of you, part of your, like, you would be recognized for that for sure.
100%, 100%. That's probably what I'll continue to do. Uh, like I said, there's so much to get through tonight, so let's keep those questions going. But I guess, Martine, out of that intro you said, what do you want me to talk? Just anything,
So
or
basically, I would like to know how did you start on your, like, I know you probably done like several different type of businesses and you're very involved and a lot. So you had a brand, you said, and I wanted to know how did you start your brand? What was your inspiration? What was the idea behind it?
yeah, we'll go with let's see. Let's start with I guess the shoe. We'll start with the shoe brand. That's probably the
Okay.
most trying to make this one fun. So the shoe brand, my buddy Mike, he's one of my personal friends. He said one day he's like, "Hey man, I found this website, liveshoes.com." I was like, "Okay, tell me, just give me 10 seconds. What's it about?" He's like, "You can make your own shoes." All right, cool. Do you have to apply to it? Yeah, apply. Okay, I hit apply. The next day they said, "Okay, you can start designing shoes." This was back in 2019, October 10th. So I said, "Okay, let me just design a shoe." Did a quick sketch. I called my first shoe Touch Zero. I didn't know what I was doing on the marketing side. So what I basically said for the first shoe I did, I didn't care if I made a single sale. I didn't care if I got any traction off it. I just wanted to go into the game, see what it's about, see what shoe. And I'll say this much: know that I had a shoe. I think I was 19. I was 19 at the time. I had a shoe. This is a very unique elitist club, but I want to make sure down the road when I build that audience, I build that I can actually give products back and services. Not really anything with the first time. I'm just looking for more experience. I said to myself, okay, now I know the system. So the second time, I was planning on last year to hit four designs, but in March, the supposed to be the second time I was supposed to launch, shoot, pandemic hit. Right, everyone knows I didn't want to put $190 shoe on the market for what people's livelihood. So I made the conscious choice to instead of doing that, I decided to craft my designing skills and design stuff, which is funny. The UP, a lot of people knew me for that. Well, that a lot of people I had interacted with have lost everything. We can't undermine the fact that people they're hurt. At least back
Hmm.
in 2020, back in March, I knew that a lot of people I saw, they lost their livelihoods in terms of businesses, brands, deals, everything. So I made the conscious choice just to suspend everything there until everyone gets back on his feet. And I'd still suspend it because I still want to make sure that I find ways to learn and find what new markets is. So basically what I'm trying to say is the shoe brand kind of is on the back foot. Same with the UP. So that's where Rizzle came in. Mike told
Hmm.
me, he said back in 2020 January, ironically 2 days before Kobe Bryant passed, he said, "Hey man, you need to try this out. I think this is good for you. You seem to know what to do. You're one of those early users." Blah blah blah. He's like, all right. Let me go on Rizzle. And I joined Rizzle basically with zero intent. I just said, go in there, have fun, see what I can do to connect, bring them over to Instagram. Can I help them out? Stuff like that, just simple marketing. And what I didn't realize is when I got to, I think it was 20 real people. I want to say 20 real people. I did about 20 real people at first, just to connect with. I noticed the trend. Like this app seemed like it was a very niche community, and it wasn't even Rizzle. It was Rumble, right? It was Rumble back then. So I always say Rumble was my first home. And then when they changed the marketing on Rumble to Rizzle, I kept thinking, well, is this a good move? And I said, well, yeah, because there's already a Rumble out there in the world. There's already like a Rumble LLC.
Hmm.
I said, let me connect and see what I can do with this app. And as the views and the followers kept piling in, I'm like, okay, let me celebrate these achievements, these achievements, these achievements, these achievements. And along the way, I met a buddy named Tommy, and back in July, we said, "Hey, buddy, what do you want? You seem like we have the same mindset. What can we do to collaborate? I want to do something with you." along came the Human Touch podcast, and he wanted to do more of a personal growth scholarly show. I wanted to do more of the same thing, but I didn't know what he meant. And when he told me, he's like, "Yo, I have what is it? Scholarly articles, APA citation, the for education mantra." I'm like, "All right, this is something new for me. I'm down because I like learning new things. Show me your way. I'll show you my way of marketing. Fair trade deal." We made it happen. Now, that show started in September 24th. We recorded our first episode August 28th, 2020, and we're on season 2. So that's going pretty well. We took a little break, a little holiday break. We're coming back actually, I'm going to say February. So that's when I started that one. I mean, I've been in so much, like, it's crazy how I remember all these days. But then what really was a defining moment for me, back in September, I took a social break just for 1 week. I wanted to see what it was like to live off the grid. Well, not off the grid. I was just off Instagram, main social. But I still looked at news and all that. But I
Mm-hmm.
said, what am I going to learn these 8 days off the grid per se? What can I learn? And what I learned is that can be applied to anything. Those 8 days, what I learned of being off the grid, living a more holistic life, finding things that mattered in nature, reconnecting my spirit, soul, energy. I learned a lot. I learned that to be grounded doesn't mean you just travel to the other side of the world and be happy. You can be grounded.
Absolutely.
Was that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Faith, thank you for joining. I learned
What's up?
that when you're grounded at your own home, because we took home for granted in 2020. Let's face it, when the lockdown, the shutdowns, whatever happened, I even took home for granted. I was like, you know what? I'm always on the go. Now everything's work from home, stay at home, all this. I learned that grant when we can't take things for granted. We never know what's going to happen. We're not promised tomorrow. And for me, that was a really important thing. So what I did the moment I got done with that detox, I came back. Hey guys, I'm refreshed, ready to give you the last 110 days. And then I went on my usual networking cycle towards the end of the year, and then boom, end of the year hit October. And what I do is something unique. I go in the list of every single follower. You got to be following me. That's my rule. If you're a verified account, even some of the verified accounts follow me. So I'm like, okay. So I do every year. I send messages out. But last year I did a little bit different. I said, this year was wild. I can't remember every single moment because I've grown so much. I used to have like a small following. So I could literally remember every single thing, time, place, date. But last year I was like, it's too hectic. So I just sent out a custom marketing message. Hey, thank you for supporting me. If there's anything I can do. I did that for 800 people. And then I saved the last 25 for videos for people who really mean a lot to me. I couldn't get to everybody. It would take me days on
Yeah.
days. I basically, what I learned through that is the end of the year is for gratitude. I basically send my work my butt off these first 10 months for the last 2 months to be for gratitude. And what I do is I reset the lines, right? Anybody who follows me, I reset the lines. It's like a newsletter. It's my way, this is what I'm doing, X, Y, Z. Now I try to, like every single day I come on these apps. I mean, I share over 20,000 things a year, 20, 30,000, 40, 50. I mean, I share all these things because you never know what you can do to inspire somebody. So
Mm-hmm.
yes. Is it a brand marketing technique? Of course. It's referral sharing. It's audience attention. It's all these things I could talk about days on days on days on days. But that's not what we're here for. The core
Mm-hmm.
message of that is just to support people. Bottom line. So when I did that, I said to myself, I've done enough. Let me do this social detox thing. So after my last video, I said, I'm going to do the social detox thing. 10 days, but I know February is a short month. I got one coming up, but I'm probably only going to do 7 days for like the short months and then 10 days for like the 31-day months. So I created the social detox thing. And the first 10 days of January, except the first, so January 2nd to 11th, I was off the air. I was more happier. I was in a better place, even more than I was back then. And now I feel like I'm unstoppable. But what really came to me was the 2 days before I got off, this Clubhouse came out. I'm like, what is Clubhouse? So I recommend everybody, if you haven't, this is only iPhone. If you have an iPhone, look up Clubhouse. So my buddy told me about this. He said, "Hey man, I know you love network. I know you got it in you. This is basically TED Talk of what is TED Talk of apps. You just go on a stage, you meet random strangers and talk." I'm like, "All right, buddy, I'm in. Give me 10 days to get off this break, and I'll make sure to repay that in a way that I put the time and the effort." In the first 10 days, I would say once I got off my break, I spent like 6, 7 hours just networking straight. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And what I learned is I learned an algorithm. The algorithm is you just have to go out there and learn human behavior. That's all it was. And once I learned human behavior of what it really is, I broke barriers. What I did on that app is I would go to rooms that I didn't know anything about. I don't know. I mean, listen, I know a lot about a lot of things, but do I know about robotics and tech and NASA? No. So I went into some of those rooms. I got Instagram followers. I networked. I learned the system. I learn. Now I may not execute right away, but give me 5 years. Down the road, I'll never forget what I learned, and maybe I can collaborate down the road with these people. What else? The business people? I mean, that's up my alley. So it was easier to connect, but at the same time, I didn't learn some. I didn't learn some of this stuff. So for me, it was more cycle. I had to keep learning. I just keep feeding my information with knowledge, and that's what Clubhouse is to me. Let me get a drink of water. That was a mouthful.
No problem. Oh my God, KC, he is dropping it on us today. Whoa, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Lewis Marin, welcome aboard.
How are you doing, Lewis? Thank you, Mitch. Yeah, man. I think he was referencing when I was talking about the home. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, just seeing people's livelihoods, it's not right, and I think there needs to be a stronger emphasis on just the mom and pop stores and these small brands, right? Like these people are busting tail 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day sometimes just to make it. And I
Absolutely.
wish there'd be a system where we can help them, but that's not my problem, but I feel like I can be a part of the solution by giving them attention on my personal page. But back to Clubhouse. Yeah, that's become my new app. I'm still on Rizzle, but not a lot. The reason why is two things. One, I feel like I'm one of those people. Like when I was on Anchor, when I first joined Anchor, the podcast, it was a very tight knit community that reminded me of Rizzle, and a lot of people said, "Listen, man, I'll never forget the day. You've done so much. I think it's time for you to move." I'm like, "What do you mean move on? Go to somewhere else newer." And I was like, "Really? He's like, that's a badge of honor. You've outgrown us. You will always have to, but I want you to do bigger things." And what's up, Toro? How you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well at Six Flags too. I know you go on those rides. Um, so they basically said you outgrown us, blah blah blah. Go to somewhere. So that was Rizzle, right? I was the new guy on Rizzle. I feel like at the same time I can do more. So I started the podcast back in the day, Anchor Nation. You outgrown that. Come back in 3 years or whatever, which I'm planning on to this year or towards the end of the year, and then I'll come back with more fresher mindset. What else? What other apps have I outgrown? Even like Twitter, right? I mean, same thing. I've learned a lot, outgrew it. Now, Clubhouse, this is an interesting app because it's in beta. A lot of people don't. It's in beta, invite only.
Yeah.
And if there's 500 million active users a day, beta, you're not going to outgrow it until they become outgrowing you. So for me, my strategy is to get into as many rooms as. What's up, Wrench? How's everything going, please? Good stuff, by the way, with the hats. I checked those out. Shared it yesterday. Great work. Keep it up in peace, champ. But yeah, I really just think with these type of new apps, like you're on Clapper, Martine, I would say the best strategy is, I don't know too much about Clapper, but I know if you have engaging apps such as like a Clubhouse or a voice setting, use it as your own Oh God. Oh man, I don't want to know, man. I'll talk to you after that, man. I'll talk to you later, on that one. But no, when you just look at these new apps, I really think the best strategy is to engage, and then eventually you'll feel it in you when people DM you saying you've outgrown this platform, follow something else, do something else, And then eventually this is all going to come back to me and say in 4 or 5 years, when I get even more knowledge and whatever, I'll just find a way to incorporate it and build something off it. It's really a simple system I use. It's just learn as much as you can now. We're all young in our hearts. Learn as much as you can now and keep your soul and spirit young. Eventually, when you get to 4 or 5 years, because age doesn't matter, you can start building on things. And that's what I do behind the scenes, man. I try to build, I try to create relationships. At the end of the day, if I'm not connecting with over 6 to 7 people a day, I don't think I'm doing my job. That's just in my own expectation. That's why I try to share at least 7 things on my Instagram. I try to get into 4 to 6 clubhouse rooms a day. I try to cycle because at the end of the day, pure wealth is just cycle. In Indian, the word means cycle. So if you cycle things and you continue to cycle and cycle and cycle and cycle, eventually your cycle is going to run out in a good way. Where you've done
Yep.
enough, go to the next cycle, and the cycle continues. That's how I approach not only business, marketing, podcasting. That's how you should approach life. Life is not going to give you lemons all the time. So what do? You use those spoiled lemons and make lemonade. But for me, I feel like the cycle has become, it almost has become a great cycle where you can apply it to anything, right? The social detox. Even when I'm not online, I'm still online because I'll make sure I'm sharpening up here. And that's a cycle, right? Cycling your mind, I always like to cycle an engine on a mower or a car. I cycle my mind every day. But when I'm on those breaks, I cycle once or twice a day. Because when I
Mhm.
cycle twice a day, while not looking at feeds, while not looking at algorithms, while taking off a business, it clears my head. It gets me in a better space. Same thing with 24-hour method I got. So let's say something happens in a good way. 24 hours cold. I don't think about it. I don't talk about it. I don't touch it, see it, visualize it. My 5 seconds, nothing. Even if something bad happens, same thing. 24 hours, nothing, no touch, no smell, no taste, no nothing. Don't even see it. Out of sight, out of mind. I give my 24 hours, and boom. Once I give my 20, another guy from Clubhouse I met. Hope everything's well, buddy. Once I give myself 24 hours, I say to myself, okay, what can I do now with a fresh mind? It's just like editing a book, right? You give
Yes.
yourself write what you write. You wait 24 hours. You get fresh mind. You look at any proofreading errors. Use your grammar. We all do it. I mean, I haven't written a book, but I've actually written a manuscript, which is nice. But I'm one of those people like you have a cookie jar. I'll get my hand in there, and I'm not going to take it out. I'm just going to continue to feel it out, feel, and then eventually I'll take it out. And that's when I start getting on a roll. And that's when I hopefully, if I do it correctly, I can inspire people like yourselves to do the same thing, right? I mean, I had a buddy, his name, I'll keep him anonymous, but he's in Texas. He said, man, one sec. I needed this.
No problem.
Yeah, I talk a lot when we get on these right people rooms. But he said, man, you do so much. I don't know how you have the time to do this. And I'm like, man, time's an excuse. Like if you're saying you have no, what's up, Chris? Hope you're well. Like time's an excuse. If you're saying you don't have enough time, you have 86,400 hours in a year. You have 168 hours a week. I sleep 8 to 9.
Wow. Okay. You go. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. We have the same mindset. Just keep going.
Okay.
Listen and take notes, people. This is the real deal.
Yeah. Chris, how's it going, buddy? Yeah. So you sleep 8 9 hours. But I always say this, right? Okay, 9 hours, 72 hours in a week, let's say, or 63, right? 63 hours. So you subtract that. Let's say you spend time, leisure, all that. You still have roughly 45 hours to mess around with what you're doing just on the weekdays. Forget the week. Take the weekends out. You still have 120 hours to make things happen. So for me, time isn't an excuse anymore. Yeah, I learned that when I was 12. Like I said to myself, you know what? Why am I wasting my 12-year-old as a 12-year-old? I said, why am I wasting my time when there's 168 hours in a week? I mean, if I could do it at 12, back when 12-year-old me said I can do this at 168 hours, why am I wasting my time at 12? So now I apply it when I'm 5, 10, 15 years old, right? Now I'm only 22, but if I apply it now, and I can eventually have 25 hours in a day. what I do is I try to use 24 hours in a day, but I use those 9 hours while I'm sleeping. I'm working because I'm recharging my. I'm still working. Your body doesn't just sleep doesn't mean it doesn't recharge. I charge my electrolytes, all that good stuff. And once I get to those 15 hours, I wait. I got 15 hours. Okay, I eat 3 meals a day. Let's say it takes an hour. We'll give or take an hour. Then about 10 to 10, I have 10, what's it, 14 hours, right? 10 hours of learning, growing, developing, 4 hours of networking, and that's a day. That's one hell of a day. Like that, you've done everything you want to do in a day. And eventually, if you can wake up, there's always 1 or 2 days where I can wake up at 7 o'clock. I bought myself an extra hour. Let me see. I don't want to, let me see. Right? 100. Wake up with new. That's it, Wrench. Absolutely. Every day's a new view. Every day's a new strategy. You're not going to go into one day thinking, oh, I'm going to use the same. You don't. I've
No, you
learned
don't.
over the course of the past 5 years, I've never seen one day with a strategy. Right? I mean, I've never tried to go in anything, no expectations. I just go into the day. I attack it as how I see it. I plan accordingly in terms of not so much writing it down. I just see it. I can visualize myself going into bed at night saying I've done everything I can. Sometimes I'll push myself, but it's very rare to see me up past the clock. Why? Because I need my 8, 9 hours to recharge. And then when I'm done, I wake up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and say, I'm ready. That's just a day. All these people that talk about, oh, I was up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Yeah, but in the long run, you've costed yourself 6 to 7 hours and you don't even realize it. That's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
or trying to get extra done. I used to be like that back in like high school. Not so much 3 or 4, but I would just say, man, I didn't get this done, But even though tomorrow's not guaranteed, most likely when you're always a high spirit person, you have a better chance, barring you make no silly decisions. You have a better chance to finish it tomorrow. Let's not beat around the bush. I mean, just because you're older, yeah, if you let yourself go, you're struggling health wise. That's another thing I'll talk about, health and fitness. I took a very deep philosophical approach. I'll talk about that next. But I learned at such a young age that time and management, you can't collaborate them together sometimes, but if you can pull them apart and realize the grand scheme that there's 86,400 hours in a year, there's 168 hours in a week, there's 24 hours in a day, but you can get a 25th hour if you do XYZ. Sometimes I feel like I've had too much time. I mean, there's times where I've done everything by Friday. I got 2 free days. So what do I do on my free days? I just talk to people like you on Instagram, or I learn something new, or I go outside, play football. I don't care. I mean, I'll do whatever. My buddies say, yo, you down for some basketball? Sure. Because it's keeping me young in my mind, and I'll never get old. I don't have pet peeves, but one of my biggest things is when I hear someone say, yo, I'm 60 years old. No, I'm 25 years old. I feel old. I'm like, yeah, but I'm
Yeah, I
still young.
agree with you on that.
Like, I wake up every fresh mindset, like Wrench was saying. I don't really feel anything. At the end of the day, my buddy always used to say, I always say this too, when you get too connected with an emotion, even, you let yourself go. Because you're putting trauma, you're putting blunt force in your head saying, I'm so connected to love. But are you really connected to love? Or can you stay on a neutral playing field? That's where I like to go with it. Neutral playing field. Yeah, thank you, Chris. You too, buddy. Neutral playing field. And I just continue to cycle it out. That's it. It's like a cycle, right? Neutral, wake up, repeat, something like that. But I always try to treat everybody neutrally. I don't like to pick favorites. Of course, if you send me something, yo, can you share this, or can you help me? I'm going to give you the one-on-one time that's accordingly. But at the same time, am I really playing favorites? No, because you came to me. See, when you come to me, that's neutral. If I came to you, that's when you know it's rare. If I ever come to you, there's something wrong. That's what someone said to me, because you never come to me. Why? Because I'm one of those people who realize that I have this upright in me. The universe is with me every single day. The universe will one day see that everything I'm doing. Same with you guys out there. they'll see whatever you're doing, and you're going to get rewarded with it. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be in 5 years. It may not be in 10 years, but it will come. It'll come. Just be patient. That's what I've learned. And I'm more happy that way. I don't have much trauma. You're never going to see me on social ranting, or I keep it low key. I don't express any views politically, religiously, relationship, none of that. That way I have no trauma in my life. I keep my mind fresh, open to new ideas. Why I have no conflict. That's why I try to gravitate with everybody. You just have to understand, to gravitate towards people, you really have to take your beliefs, your mindset sometimes. There are times where I'll have my alone time. I'll vent it out if I need to. Listen, we're all people. We all get angry, frustrated, all the emotions. I don't put it on the camera. I don't even put it on behind the scenes. I put that in my dark room, I used to call it, my dark space, my dark matter. I put it away from everything and go from there. Now, let me get a water and we're talking.
Can I get in?
Yeah, Martine, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. You know what, Casey? I always knew that we were connected. Like we could just have a conversation and just be like aligned. We're just totally aligned
Yeah.
in purpose because we understand each other's language for real. Like 100%. I mean, it's the same thing with me. You know, I do the show Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. EST. And there's some people who are like, oh my God, you're so consistent. How are you doing this? Where do you get the time? You know, you're always there Tuesdays and Thursdays. And no matter what the situation is going on, perhaps maybe in your life that we don't even know about, but you still show up. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm committed. I mean, if I'm not here right now during this time, I could be doing something else, but I'm always going to be doing something. So I might as well, if I'm going to do a program, I start it, be committed, put my all in there and just do it. Do it, like you said, the way that it should be done. And you're doing it for humanity. I do it for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm a facilitator. You came here, you totally expressing yourself to the T. I have no issue with that. I'm loving it. This interview right here, let me tell you, I am in my glory because it's exactly my language you're speaking. And this is what I've gone through throughout my lifetime. This is what I practice. You go to self-development classes, this is what they teach you. Okay, exactly. Everything that you're explaining to the T. So I'm going to give it away to you because you don't even need me to ask questions. Just go.
Yeah. On TED Talk. Maybe I should call it. Well, that's why I had a show called Touch Talk. But let me. Where was it? Okay. Who else joined before I start here?
Peter, welcome aboard.
Anybody else here? Anybody else is still here? Don't forget to ask me any questions. Drop them below. I think the comments should be. I'm just gonna make sure the comments still pinned. Yeah, just ask me any questions, guys. Feel free. I don't bite. You know how I do. Okay. Health and fitness. So that was my next topic. So thankfully, I have no health issues, and I have a very good family history of people living long. So I mean, I want to keep that going. I really don't think I'm the biggest guy in the world in terms of strong, like actual physical. But up here, I said, okay, well, what can I do to utilize the mind? So instead of doing like the typical weight training, I've been really looking for innovative ways to do calisthenics. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to do like an hour a day of calisthenics. And what I'm finding is the more I do calisthenics, I'm even more focused. I don't need to be more focused. I mean, trust me. Once I'm on it, it's like there. Sometimes, I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. One time I was out there mowing the lawn. My mom's like, come on in. I'm like, oh, I got to finish this. I'm not getting out of this lawn until I finish this. I don't care how hot it is, how sweaty I am. I'm finishing this. She's like, finish it. Boom. And they understand. And that's just the kind of person I am. Until the job is done, I won't stop. But at the same time, what I'm learning with the fitness and everything I'm doing health-wise and changing my diets up, just a little, like, I'm not talking about, I'm making wholesale changes, right? I need to get off the meat and go on to vegan. I don't have to do that. I mean, I'm finding there's a hybrid diet and fitness program. So what I do is I wake up, drink some of this. I mean, this is my coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I drink this. once or twice in the morning just to regulate. And then I do my usual thing. And then sometime around 2 or 3 o'clock, the reason why I do 2 to 3 o'clock, everyone talks about this. I always see it online. Man, I got that 2 o'clock feeling. I got that 3 o'clock drained feeling. Well, what can you do to combat that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock you workout? It doesn't have to be you work out physically. I do two different types of workouts. It's either I'm actually working out with my body or I'm going into Clubhouse and developing this. So it's a mixture. It's like luminosity brain training. This is a muscle. Right here's a muscle. This is a muscle. This is a muscle. This is a muscle. These are all muscles. The more you train this, the better you'll be. And people are like, "Oh man, shouldn't you take those cold showers?" And listen, those are great and all, but you don't have to just go to this hardcore routine to be better. You really don't. I mean, at the end of the day, that's for the people who are so down, so depressed that they have limiting beliefs and limiting factors that don't allow them to manifest whatever. For example, what you're manifesting right now. Let's say you're saying, I'm not feeling it today. You're not going to feel it the whole day. At the end of the day, you just put that into the universe. If you're saying, I'm feeling this today, I'm pumped, I'm ready, I'm motivated, let's go, you'll feel it all day. That's it. Sometimes what you say in the first 30 seconds of your day matters. So what I do is a tip and trick. I have my curtains in. The first thing I do is I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's sunny. I don't care if the clouds, I don't care if it's snowing. I open my curtains. I keep them closed at night for obvious reasons. Well, obviously it's cold out here, so I don't want the draft coming in. That's obvious. But I open them up and I say to myself, man, that sun's still out there. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's snowing. The sun is still up in the sky. It's going to hit me. And I recently learned on Clubhouse, if you take my name, Kevin, you look at the last four letters, you take out the K, it spells E-V-I-N. You spell E-V-I-N, it's V-I-N-E, vine. So I'm like a grapevine. The vine needs sun. I need sun. I know that for a fact. I hadn't even known that till this guy told me on Clubhouse. I need the sun. So when the sun hits me, even if it's not, like I said, sunny out, that's my energy for the day. I've got enough of that energy. So I learned is when I'm doing these fitness workouts, just an hour a day, nothing too crazy. I'm more focused the 5 to 9. Yes, plants need sunshine, absolutely, and water, of course. That's why I mentioned the water. So 5 to 9, I use the 5 to 9 time, the time where most people kind of wind down. I use that 5 to 9 time to go hard on the learning aspect. I really use those times to go either learning, growing, and that's just like a plant. The plant needs to go to sleep during that time. So I reverse engineer the plant, especially when there's no sunlight out. When it's dark in the winter, that's when I go hard on things that I enjoy, whether it be research and development on the mind, whether it be things I don't know, helping somebody, having a phone call, connecting with people in real life. This is before COVID, and even post-COVID, I can just connect on Zoom. But I do these things because I feel like that's fitness too. It's because I'm doing this and this. So in the midday, it's the body. At night, it's the mind. And when I get to about 10 o'clock, I'm mentally drained. But that's what you want. The more you're mentally drained at around 10, 11, your brain needs to function for only a solid 3 hours. I'm learning. Yeah, nighttime is maybe 7, 9 o'clock. That's all your brain really needs to function for. And once you get tired, you can have those powerful sleeps. I've slept like a baby since I was born. I've never had to wake up in the night. I mean, once in a while, if it's like 100 degrees out, I mean, that's different. But, I mean, for the most part, I sleep regularly. And what I'm learning is through the health and fitness aspect, I'm getting more disciplined. That's where I was going with it. The more disciplined you can get by finishing an hour workout, training your mind, learning and growing through development, helping somebody, you're basically putting empathy in your own body. The more you can empathize with yourself, the more you can manifest greatness. And that's it for that aspect. A little water. You guys can talk.
Oh my goodness, guys, this is the first interview where I don't even have to ask a question. I'm so thrilled. Do you guys have any questions by all means? Because Kevin is ripping it up. Oh my God, I love everything that you are sharing here today. This is just my world. Thank you so much for having this interview with us, for real. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. Let me know if you have questions. Let me talk about Wrench really here with this comment. You know, Wrench, it's a funny thing when you mention plants sunshine to grow. And I just had done about 3 weeks ago. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm an avid gardener. Well, actually, you know, I'm more of an avid gardener, but I really kind of just do more of the back end work. Right in the winter, you got to dig up the soil. You got to make sure the weeds are ready. You got to make sure the soil is ready. You compound them. But I just thought about that. We're all growing, right? We're all plants. In a way, we really, truly are all plants. We're going to start as a little seed. And sometimes when you're a seed, there's two different types of seeds I notice. There's the people that just have that self-drive, right? You put the seed in, you don't know how it grew so fast. Those are the self-driving people. Then you put the seed in there, and some people really need to make sure the water's in there, kind of put sure the miracle grows in there, make sure you pamper it, treat it with love. And let's not mess around here. There's a lot of people in the world that are like that. You know, there's over. I read this stat. If you're literate right now, you can read and write. You're lucky. You're grateful. There's over 3 billion people that can't do that. Okay, that's crazy. But there's a lot of people in the world. If you go to some of these poor nations, third world countries, I've been to some of those. Now I've not been to all, but I've been to some. Believe it or not, in my life, and I've seen a lot. I'm only 22, but listen, I've seen a lot. And those experiences that I've seen have humbled me. Right, I'm grounded. I'm just like that plant. I can stay in the ground for a long time because I still am true to my roots. Some people, oh, you know what? I lost my roots, and that's how they become your next drug dealer, your next convict, your next person who's trying to sell and make a quick buck. Is it their fault? Is it society's fault? Perhaps, but could you change your mindset? Absolutely. So what I'm saying is, even those people out there, right, who are struggling right now, we all have that power to change our own mindset as a spectator. We may not be the ones causing problems in the world we're trying to help create solutions, but just think about the problems. And I'm going to share this story. It's a little emotional, but I'll share it. So one of my buddies back in I want to say it was towards 2018. He was going through some. So what's going on, bro? He's like, man, I feel like I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, man. You know, and long story short, he got into some things I don't want to talk about, but he he basically said we had a conversation one day, and he was on the cross country team, and he said, "Man, after you had that 3 hour conversation with me, I took 3 hours out of my day." He's like, the next day, he's like, "Man, I'm starting to change my life, starting to turn it around." And about a year and a half ago, he comes to me. He's like, "Man, I had a 3 hour conversation with somebody that I needed to need, and I helped them, and it was all thanks to you." I was like, "I'm outside. That's it. That's all I needed to hear." Now all I ask from you is to continue to do that, to inspire. I mean, can I pay you? No, no, don't. I don't need no payment. Go out there, do it for other people. Don't worry about helping me. This will always have my back. That's what I believe, and of course my family. I can't forget that. But other than my family and this, and of course the connections I build over time, I don't really
Mhm.
need much. I don't think I've ever asked for anybody share my stuff or go out there. I don't need it. I mean, if you give it to me, like on Arsenal, or Arsenal, why did I say Arsenal? If you give it to me on fair trade, then yeah. If you barter with me, absolutely. Dave, what's up, buddy? Hope everything's well, man. Uh, the last I saw of you, man, you were doing photography. Let me know what's good if I can help you out. Point is, like, yeah, I mean, I just try to create these subtle ways of saying it's not about me. It's about the world. It's about you. That's how our relationships are going to be. It's about you. At the end of the day, I know who I am. I'm one of those seeds. You plant me in the ground, I'll never lose my roots. I'll grow. But for the other people out there, maybe that's what they need. What's up, Star? Everything with you, man? Good to see so many people join. It's great to see you guys. I'll give you guys a shout out too. Thank you.
Welcome,
Um,
everybody.
so yeah, I'm just like one of those plants where I'm just yeah. I'm just one of those plants where I just can grow. But there are other plants out there, out there that need the attention. Listen, we're all humans. At the end of the day, we all need connection. Let's not mess around here. We know humanity from the start, cavemen, ne'er-do-wells. They need a connection. They needed the spirit. They needed the soul. X, Y, Z, right? But in the world of mental health, and I learned the hard way, believe it or not. Like I want to say before I came online, I want to think of a time. Yeah, okay. It was. I remember the day. It was June 29, 2015. I still remember this like yesterday. The first time someone said mental health, I was like, "What is that?" I'm thinking, "Man, my mentals are so good. I'm the man. Like I don't need this." Well, then 3 years later, when I got on social, I'm like, "Oh, this is a whole big movement." So in Canada, my buddy he talked about Bell Let's Talk Day. It's a day I think it might be coming up. This is actually kind of a perfect time for an interview. It's usually January 31st. There's a day dedicated to Mental Health Day in Canada. And I learned so much on that day. It was about 3 years ago now. And he kept telling me, man, like the fact that we know you're a good guy, you don't have any problems, that you're helping our community, the people who don't have a voice by sharing our stories and just even from a different country, right? Incorporating what they're learning, my own agenda of learning. They said, "On you finally." I never was an advocate for mental health. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest guy, but what I'm learning is if you truly need help, don't be afraid to ask. But also, you have to put yourself in accountability in the way we're moving the world. Mental health is everything. With this pandemic, you don't think people are going to have more problems? So the more problems, the more chance for you to become a solution. The less problems, the more you can learn individually, introspectively. Take a quick water break. Thanks for joining, guys. Any questions, let me know.
Wow. Well, exactly what you're saying is that you make it your business to utilize
Right.
all of your resources, and all of the resources is within you. It's you, and I'm so happy for your deliverance here, right here on the show, because it is extremely powerful. And this is what I've been practicing for the longest time. And this is what has saved me. It has molded me. It has helped me in so many different ways. And it's continuous elevation, continuous elevation. You're always growing, no matter what it is, no matter whatever the obstacles that come before you. You may be, let's say, steered off course a little bit, but you won't be broken. You will not be derailed at all. You will always get back on track, continue and focus on your purpose, and continue to fulfill it. And I'm so happy for you, for your mindset. And the shares, the vivid shares, it's just so powerful. I'm so grateful. You have no idea. Go ahead. I'm going to give it back to you.
Yeah. That's how I kind of. I'm like on my own TED talk, but no. So I actually, while you were talking, I thought of a quote. The path less traveled may be boring. What's up, Jasmine? How's everything? Good carousel, man. I liked it. Sorry I didn't share it. A lot going on. Keep doing your thing. I always like dropping those subtle hints to my viewers. But here we go. Get some more constant elevation. Completes
Constant elevation completes the cipher, for sure.
For the second of the typo. Yeah, no, for sure. Wrench, we'll talk about that in a second. So I was saying, the path less traveled may be boring, but the most boring path is the most path traveled. And I find that true because the path less traveled, right? We're always on this path of life. And when we start is we're like, I'm going to try to use my hand. Whatever. So like we're right here, right? I use the finger. So we're here when we start when we're born, right? Most likely this is our path.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it, right? This is our age 10 path. Now we start learning some things. Society teaches us to get hard. So most people are like this. The age of 15 is a critical moment in child development, adolescent development. Certain people will go this way, up, or down. What you really should be, this is the correct path. This is all on parenting. This is what I'm not a parent, but when I try to become a parent one day, this is how I'm going to deal with my kids. Flatline. I'm going to flatline all the way through. Because when you flatline things, what I learned from a mental perspective, you're putting no trauma in there. You're putting no pressure on a kid. You're putting no pressure for them to, adjust to society. Listen, guys, for your information, society doesn't tell you who you are. At the end of the day, you make your own limiting beliefs. You make your own beliefs. You make your own X, Y, Z. Society doesn't mean nothing. I don't care what society tells you. At the end of the day, if society says I'm the king, I don't care. I'm still KT. You're still Jasmine. You're still. There's no such thing as comparison. I don't understand why we compare people to other people, or we do this cancel culture. None of that. I don't understand it. So for me, it's always a flat, neutral line. Because once they hit the age of 18, adulthood, to me, I don't believe it. I'm one of those people. I want to be this forever. Because I still have that kid-like spirit. When you're a kid, you can learn so much. You have less stress. It's not easy I get it. Life's going to come. Life's going to be hard. I get it. Let me. Oh my
Oh, that's Jossam,
God. Of course.
And of course his
Yeah.
stocks.
Of course, buddy. All right. I'll listen. I'm pretty good, so I'm gonna try to make a comparison to what's going on with that into life. We'll wait for that a second. I'll try to blow your mind for a second. I'm always one of those people. I like to do that. Okay, so back to me too, Wrench. It's useless. So for any parent out there, I really challenge you guys out there to have an autonomous mindset. Just like when you put your car, these new cars that you can put autopilot on, do that. Because when you put your kid on autopilot, or you put yourself on, let's say you're struggling, right? Let's say your parents may have not raised you at a level. Okay, well, what can you do to put yourself on autopilot? Eventually, you want to create your relationships to be autonomous with autopilot. You don't want them to be forced, rushed. You feel like you're pressuring somebody or putting peer pressure. Those four things right there, adios, will never create a relationship. So what I mean by autonomy is, what are you doing to where you can finish people's sentences, where you can know what they're doing? Like, I don't know if you noticed, Martine. Everyone who came in, I knew what they were doing. That's autonomy. I know.
Absolutely. You're very connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when I look at everyone's stories, I may not say anything, but I remember what they're doing. So like
I'm
Wrench,
the same way too. I love it.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah, Wrench, I knew what you were doing when you posted that story. I knew you were trying to do the Boston Bridges thing, right? I know you're trying to brand that, market that, get that sales, revenue, all that. Jackson, I'm sure there's so much going on in your world right now that we'll talk about that for a second. Chris, when he was in here, I know he's at Chick-fil-A grinding, doing his thing. Let's see, who else can I? GQ, I know you've been posting some TikToks lately about some funny things. That new coronavirus in China, that new testing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just post that today. And you've been grinding on TikTok. Gary, I know he's got a lot going on with his businesses. Dave, I know. Charlie, I know. Sarge, he served in the Air Force, serving in the Air Force right now. Salute to you, my man. Everybody, and that's how relationships, from what I learned at a young age, should be like a neutral line. They should be flat line, autonomous. People can finish your sentences and whatnot. Back to what I was saying. Now, the thing is with anything you do, because at the end of the day, we're all parents of the way. You're always going to be someone's mentor. Even if they don't say it in a way, I know 20, 30 people who have come up to me saying, man, I wish to be like you. And I say, I want you to be just like you. You, not me, you. I want you to be like you. You can't be like me. I can't be like you. That's the beauty of life. If we were all you, if we all had the same ideas, same beliefs, same views, it's boring. But one thing we all can do is this. We all can stay neutral and flatline. Because that way you don't get hardened by society. That's how you, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no,
100%. Yes. And those are the tactics they teach you basically for you to, on social media. It's connecting and engaging. And this is the reason why a lot of people fall in love with Rizzle, because it makes you connect and engage with people. You have to communicate, And this is the same tactic they'll tell you to utilize in sales. If you're in sales and marketing and you want to make that sale, you're going to have to connect and engage. You're going to have to become familiar. You're going to have to build a relationship. You cannot make a sale without building the relationship. How are they going to trust you to buy from you? That's the formula. It's never going to change. And this is what the 1% studies on, and they perfect. And the reason why they're at the 1% because they take the time to exercise their mental muscle. They read constantly books and strategies on whatever it is that they want to perfect on. Whether it's making money, finances, investments, social media marketing, their
Right.
YouTube, whatever it is, constantly feeding their brain, consuming what they want to learn. This is exactly what KT's doing. This is what I do. This is what a lot of other people do. This is exactly the formula, guys. Just take it away, KT.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. I don't really know. Do you know if Instagram has that hour thing where they kick you off, or are we good?
Oh no, I surpassed that. I passed that a long time ago. I could
Okay.
stay until like 2 hours, 3 hours if I wanted to.
I think they did. Okay, good, good. We got time. All right, let me see. Yeah, it's almost 9, but we should be good.
We're not a
All right.
limited time. No.
Yeah, yeah, great. Okay. Where was? Oh yeah, limiting belief. Okay, parenting. Yeah. And society. Okay, I know where I'm at. So society, like Renz was saying, right? Report. You have to see. I think I'm one of those people that I believe in. You need to build a rapport with yourself first, though, before you can say screw off society, right? Because if you don't have your ducks in a row, you can't just say screw off society. Because I know certain people out there that don't have their ducks in a row, but society helped them, right? It depends
Mhm.
what your definition and your narrative of society is. If your definition and narrative of society is, well, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z today, and I'm gonna get the help I need, then you can actually go to society, and society will reward you back. I'm gonna go to, or you can be the other person, person B. I'm gonna go to society and sell whatever. Okay, the legal stuff. I'm not. You know. You know
Mhm.
what I mean. But the point is, like, it doesn't mean society is not against you or for you. It's all in your mind. The moment you have your ducks in a row and you feel like you can say, I'm not going to let society harden me. I'm not going to let society change my mindset. I'm going to have my own morals, beliefs, values, systems, ideas. Then you can say that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about life and society is it can coexist in this echo chamber or simulation. I know I hear that all the time. This
Mhm.
simulation called life. I mean, is life a simulation? Sure. But is life like a video game? Sure. Life is whatever you make it be, right? If life is a bottle of water where you're always the half glass full, so be it. If life is half glass empty, that's what you're going to manifest. You have to be careful in anything little thing you do. I,
Yep.
now, it doesn't mean you just say screw society because you're going to need. Listen, the average person, this is a fact, goes through 94% of their life as a kid. Here's the word no. That's an actual fact. So if we just can flip that around to 50-50, I'm not saying we flip it to 100, it's impossible. Unfortunately, just because the way everyone was raised differently, it's almost pretty impossible to get 100%. You can do anything you want because there's not many people like that. In fact, that's a little dangerous. I'll talk about that in a minute. But if we can get to 50-50 where we see more kids becoming more interested in what's going on. Now, like Jason, right? This is where I'll kind of blow your mind, Jay. Are you still here? Let me know you're here so I don't just talk to the screen. I'll get to him in a second. Um, but if you're still here, just say yes. But if you can get those kids, those 50%, to say yes at a young age, think about how kids learn at such a young age, right? They're learning like this. They learn languages, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh, they learn different things. It's because their brains are being pushed back in a good way. See, a
Mhm.
lot of kids now I learn, and this is something I learned, they don't have wisdom teeth. They have more capacity in their brains, lungs, and heart. There's because of human evolution, the kids being born today are the smartest, brightest kids in the world. Even more than me. It seems like as we age as a universe, the kids are getting better. But what separates the kids coming up to the kids back in when I'm like in the late 90s, so I'm Z, right? I'm like the tail end of Z, but I can pretty much connect with any type of group. But if you look at the kids today, it's about it's about what they feed into their mind, but it's about not letting society or a close circle, as I talked about, or a big circle drive them into the wrong path. Part of it's parenting. I mean, I look at every kid before this pandemic happened. I go to a restaurant, they're already on an iPhone at age 2. While it's
Mhm.
impressive at the same time, it's scary because what that's doing is it's creating a disconnect of I need to be on a technological device. So I'm not a parent, but I think to myself, down the road, I don't want my kid or some kid out there to go into a state of shock. Once they get to like age 12, how do I communicate? What's a phone call? That's a dangerous game to play. So what I
That's the thing I think about also. That's dangerous. It's very dangerous. It's
it,
actually
it,
mind-boggling.
it is mind. Now listen, if they have aspirations to be a bioengineer, a technological ace, if you can support them and still create the relationship autonomously, go for it, right? But for the most people who may not have those gifted skills, I know schools are changing their curriculum to try to make more STEM programs, all of that. That's another whole nother conversation for another day.
Hmm.
I've learned a lot of that whole educational space. But if we can teach kids in a way to where we can feed the mind, we can do the right things, we can teach them the right things in terms of creating relationships autonomously, and the parents can be more there for them. I'm not saying you have to be there for your kid 24/7, but don't force the kid to do it. I hear this all the time, right? Oh, you got to go to soccer practice, honey. I'm like, you force them to go to soccer. You want him to go to. Let them do it on their own. Let them figure out on their own. Be autonomous with what they're pursuing. If they want to pursue it on their own, you got to be there to support them. If they don't want to pursue it and you're forcing it down their throats, you've ruined the whole chemistry between you and your son or daughter. And I just
Hmm.
find going to challenge kids moving forward because guess what? Monkey see, monkey do, mirror imaging. They're mirroring. They're going to say, you know what? My dad, as crazy as it sounds, kids love to remember things. And I feel like I'm big here. I remember the times where I wasn't forced to do nothing. Like I was raised very, very autonomously. I would see what my parents were doing, and I would never ask a question. I just observe, 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 observe. And I still observe to this day. I never stop learning. I don't care if you graduated school. I don't care if you're 70 years old. I don't care if you're 3 years old. If you never stop learning, you create autonomy in the mind. And when you create autonomy in the mind, your brain capacity, your serotonin, your dopamine, the good dopamine, not the notification none of that. The good dopamine comes. I know for a fact that if you look at some of the best mindset trainers in the world, they're going to say the same thing.
Absolutely.
In terms of the dopamine, like if you create whatever dopamine you want, if your
Hmm.
dopamine every day is getting up and doing a workout, congrats. But if your dopamine is the first thing you do is check your phone, it's not a good habit. That's
It's
why I
not.
have the sunlight. Like the first thing I do every day is the sunlight. I open up my curtains. Next thing I do, brush my teeth, do my usual. I usually check my phone about half. I don't think you need to go an hour, but a half hour into my day. I get my day going, check my notifications, and I'm on my day. Um, those are just simple habits I'm just trying to preach here because there's a lot of simplicity you can. We really forget in a society where everything has to be complex, right? Oh my God, it's pressure filled. The simple, the basics, the basic fundamental things. There's a reason why they're called the basics for a reason. They were around in our Stone Ages, back in the days where we didn't have, back in the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the model citizen, right? I studied a little bit of that. My good buddy Tommy, he talks about that all the time. Is there a model citizen that exists? In today's day and age, no. But is there a tribe you can find of model citizens that exist? Sure. There's always a tribe you can find. There's always things you can do to create autonomy. There's always things you can do to build rapport, as Wrench was saying. And let me take a final water break. You can talk, Martine. Go for it.
No problem. No problem. Oh my goodness. Do you guys have any questions? This is a hot, sizzling interview right here. And he is dropping gems every single time he comes through here. Like, he has his own thing going on, guys.
I don't know. Let me see. Obviously, Jay. Let me see what I can do here. All right. So he said, let me read his comment and see how I
So,
can do it.
Jackson? Yeah.
All
He
right. Let's
says,
see.
adding on to KT's quote, when it comes to investing, buying the meme stocks isn't the best investment strategy because meme stocks can
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
quite volatile and dangerous, like GameStop, AMC, Novo, Fox. Absolutely. I totally get that. I mean, why would you want to
Yeah,
focus on?
yeah. It's funny. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to say anything because he's not here, so I don't want to just. But I'll say this much: if you can teach the right kids the right way, especially at a young age, right? Like if you look at practice, right? Practice doesn't really make perfect. What practice is a form of repetition, one step over the other, right? You get out of the bus, right? You got it. What's the first thing you do once you got to put your foot over the other foot. You got to walk over the other walk. You're not really creating anything crazy. To create overnight success or overnight doesn't really exist. It's like the iceberg, right? What you see at the top of the iceberg is all nice and flash, and on the bottom, though, the bottom layer, that's all the work you've been putting in, all the days where you feel like you're crap or you're struggling. Listen, we all get those days. Am I here going to say I don't get those days? No, of course I do. But it's how you act and how you overcome the adversity, right? I could easily sit here and say, um, I'm trying to think of, you know what? It was November. November, the first week of November usually is one of those weeks I do a hard self-core deep reflection. I remember like yesterday, November 5th or 6th. I was just in a place where I was like, you know what? I gotta do one of those deep evaluations. I just sat outside 30 minutes. I don't know why, but I took my shirt off because it was like 70 degrees in November. I remember that. And I just took my shirt off. I just sat in my front porch. I just deep reflected. And I kept thinking to myself why I'm doing this, why I'm out here, how grateful I am. And at the end of the 30 minutes, I'll never forget it. A little butterfly came up. Just a little butterfly,
Mhm.
a little buttercup butterfly. And it landed on my skin. I knew right there and then I'm back to normal. Just by connecting with a deep sense of nature, connecting with another human in a way, that little butterfly, it was like the butterfly effect they teach in a personal development class. Like the butterfly effect is real. And the next day, I did the videos, I messaged the people, I did the end of the year stuff, I killed the workout, I did X, Y, Z. But what I'm trying to say is like that's all mine. That's all mine. The matter, all that matter, that dark gray matter in your mind, and that's being thrown in your face, all that matter doesn't mean anything. All that really is just deep down. This is the stress. This is the mind. It hits you. What are you going to do? You're going to stone cold face that and overcome, or are you going to panic and whimper? At the end of the day, even if you don't stone cold face in the beginning, you got to build mental toughness somehow. So people talk about cold showers, X, Y. Listen, as much as listen, I'm not going to discount that. It's great. Don't get me wrong. Cold showers, building up through mental training, hot saunas, all that. Go outside for 30 minutes. Trust me, it works. 30 minutes, close your eyes, and just think. Don't even close your eyes. I don't even close my eyes. I just went out there for 30 minutes, no phone, up, just sat there, looked around on my street, seeing cars pass by. And then 30 minutes later, I was like, all right, I don't even know what happened. It's like I erased whatever trauma that hit me that day,
Yeah,
throw it in the trash.
yeah.
And that's the simplicity you can do. Just simple, holistic changes can help your mind. It really is incredible. I mean, if you look at some of the oldest people living on Earth, I remember when so I was in Thailand, so I'm part time, part Asian. I said to myself, man, I'm at this Buddha temple, Buddha temple. I just look at these monks, right, and just how they're so grace and peaceful in a time of when the world was going nuts back in 2017 when everything was going crazy with, I think it was with North Korea. I don't want to say that confidently, but it was something with North Korea. I was in the middle of that in a way because I was over there. I didn't know what was going on. There really was no TV. I like to disconnect myself. I didn't know what was going on. I heard something about potential bombing throughout, but I just was over there. I remember like yesterday, just being one with nature, being one with the world. And I remember I learned so much mental toughness of If these guys, these monks, pour their heart and spirit and soul for what? No pay, no monetary value, no fundamental materialism, none of that. They just got a robe and whatever they got on their back, maybe a little slinky backpack, a little yellow slinky backpack. If they can do that for their life, and we're in a society right now where materialism is becoming too overvalued. We really need to think about this. Think about what you need versus what you want. Do you really need that new clothing? Do you really need that new iPhone 30? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't. At the end of the day, the rule of thumb is if you really need it, then you really need it. If you need a new light, like, let's say the light goes out, yeah, you need that, of course. But do you really need a new iPhone? Do you need food? Yeah. Do you need water, shelter? Yeah, of course. Fundamental basics of survival. The point is, gratitude needs to come into play at some point. And I think if you look at the way gratitude has evolved over the past 10 years, ever since we got these smart devices, it's becoming lower, right? But in this generation, what I fear, and I really think we can really, everyone can as a part in this, we're gifting kids cell phones at the age of 2, right? We're gifting them everything. They have all the resources. Instead of just using that cell phone at the age of 2, how about you wait 7 or 8 years? Let the kid develop a mental capacity at the age of 10, where maybe, okay, you know what, you can start to feel it, right? But let them build human connections the first 10, 15 years of their life. And when they come online, they're going to have so much to share. And eventually, when they get to my age, they're going to be even more bright. My goal is I don't want to be the brightest guy. I mean, everything I'm saying is great. You know, could fly every day, but I want somebody out there who's right behind me, right? Might be just over my shoulder. I want them to be even more bright because that would make me more happy in a way because it's everything that I'm putting there in the ether. They might hear this one day and say, you know, I can just be like that guy, but I'm going to be me, and I'm just going to learn what I learned, and I'm going to express this and have the confidence and the discipline to go out there with a random stranger and make a connection. Obviously, we know each other, but
Yeah.
right? If you can go out there with the random stranger and just make things happen, I mean, that's a beautiful thing, right? I think that's really, if we can get to a state in life where our kids are doing that, the next generation, Generation Alpha, yeah, Gen X, we recycled the alphabet. If Generation Alpha can do that, starting in 2010 to 2028, I think, or 2035, right? 2010, I'm trying, it's a lot to remember. 2010 to 2035, that's the next generation, right? So what can we do for those kids who are by yet in the 2030 are going to be 20 years old, right? In my position, what can they do? What can I apply? We're at the tip of our hat. Google has all the answers. It's not like back in the day in 2005 where what was Google, right? Um, it was very young. It was breeding, and just like anything, it's a cycle. Social media is a great tool. It's a business resource. Apply it with your own at risk, right? At the end of the day, just like I was going to say, Jay, at the end of the day, what Jay's doing is risk. What we're all doing is risk. We all know what we signed up for once we entered this life, right? We all know the risk associated with it. You hear the stories on suicide and depression. It's tough to think about, but at the end of the day, it's reality. And even if you don't know anything, you can always be a difference in that, of preventing that life being lost or preventing that deep funk or even being in a rut, right? I mean, you can do so many things with just a word, an action, a phone call, a hug. I mean, there's so many ways you can be part of the solution. And I really think if we all can be a part of the solution, there's one thing we all can take away is think about the person behind you, right? Because they may not even be in your life. Like when I was on Clubhouse, when I joined the app, December 28th, 9:02 at night. I still remember. I remember the first conversation with my buddy JM. He's like, How are you going to approach this, KT?" He's like, "Man, I'm gonna use my platform to inspire, but I know there's a lot of big people on this app. I mean, there are some, but I want to hear what they're saying, use their system in a way, and see how they motivate, inspire, how they built an influence. And I just want to do that for a small group of people because eventually that small group of people through referrals and word of mouth are going to tell their friends. And even if I don't get any of the contributions back, they will help somebody, and I won't even have to worry about being a part of the solution. I know I am. When you get to that stage where you don't have to worry about, you know you are, that's when you have reached pre-self. I call it pre-self-actualization.
Yeah.
Self-actualization is not a real thing. We're never going to get there. At the end of the day, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for growth. But leave, what's the old phrase? Leave this earth a better place you walked in. I don't know. It's been a long night, but um, I don't know. But yeah, point is like you need to have the impact now. Tom
Hmm.
Bill talks about impact theory. I don't listen to him too much. I hear him all the time, but it's like you can only go so far to listen to that, right? That's why I rarely follow major influencers. I try to follow the common person because I learn a lot from the common people, right? Because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, there's more common people in the world than the top 5% of the world. Heck, believe it or not, guys, everybody in this room is the top 1%. If you think about it, we know how to read and write. We make a certain amount of XYZ income. We know social skills. Some people don't have phones. Some people don't have food. Some people don't have shelter. Some people were born a tree. The chances of being born a human is 1 in X billion. I don't need to express that, but it's like we are technically all grateful. We're all 1% something. To be the 1% something, you've got that gift. Now, inspire the 99% behind you and turn that 99% all into the 1%ers. And when they all think they're the 1%ers, guess what? That's influence. And when they all feel loved and compassion, they're going to start inspiring their friends. They're going to start telling their people. They're going to start telling their folks. Say, hey, let's create this. What can we do? And as Wrench said, to kind of wrap it up there on his end, that's the rapport. Back to you. I'm going to get on a water here.
Right. This is excellent, excellent, excellent. I mean, this is like everything you need for creative mindset. This is everything they tell you in terms of starting with a clean slate, going back to basics. 2020 was all about going back to basics, going back to what you originally learned from yay high. You know what I mean? For you to utilize all of those tactics, those principles that you learn and put them into application. And that's exactly what we have to continue to be doing now, moving into 2021. I think 2020 was a trial time for each and every one of us all around the world for us to reconnect with ourselves, mind, body, and soul, start with a clean slate and unlearn to learn exactly what is it to go back to basics. Because a lot of people lost all of that because
Yep.
of the influence of technology. You know, a lot of
Right.
people basically just like reading. People are like, oh, I'm like, I love to have a book in my hand. I can highlight something. I can write in it. I can have a notepad, just writing. They're like, oh, but I like to do my Kindle. And I'm like, okay, great. I hate it. I don't like it because I want to be able to have something tangible other than electronics in my hand.
Right.
You know,
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
so important. Yeah.
No, I mean that's the thing. Like, and that goes back to my social detox. Like, I don't know as much as I know a lot of things. I don't know the ratio between what social media is doing. I know there's that film Social Dilemma, but there's only so much they'll tell you, right? I don't know what the exact ratio of is what is social media really doing for the fundamentals and the chemistry of the brain, right? We will never really truly know even though no matter how much science we put in, no matter how much technology we are willing to spend for the brain and social, it's really up to us to limit it, right? I mean, we can only go so far with put in the resources, time, money. Listen, that's all great, but it's simple. You need to figure out what you like to see, right? Like, what are your passions and beliefs? And it's okay if you don't have them. Listen, it's funny. People ask me like, "Yo, Kev, why do you never ask?" What's the question they ask me? Oh yeah, why do you like when we have a conversation? Why do you never ask what I do? You never seem. I don't care because at the end of the day, it's ever changing. Okay,
Hmm.
but you're not the same author you were today as you're going to be tomorrow. So what's the
Absolutely.
me? However, you can throw the it's just funny. You can throw the hard balls at me. I don't care. But I never ask anybody what they do, what they're working on right now. I want to just know what your mind is. What are you working on in your mind? That's the most important. Like, what are you manifesting in your mind? Then through conversation, I'm gonna okay. You said you did marketing, and then we'll discuss, right? When you, it's like a value, right? But by providing value, by not asking what you do, like even how are you, I never even start a conversation with how are you. Sometimes I literally would say, yo, hope all is well. Sometimes I'll say, what can I do for you? And that just changed the mantra in our words. They're like, oh, I got to stop and think for a second. Most people just ask me, wait, wait, what? Well, it confuses them because most people are stuck to the old society. How are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what are you working on? At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to eventually know what I'm working on. But I just don't, I think we need to change that culture up because what it's doing is, like, if you tell a kid, a good example is if you tell a kid, it's hard to think of scenarios late at night sometimes, but 14 years old, right? You tell a kid 14-year-old, what are you doing right now? You got a job? You got a side business? I'm like, what kind of questions are those, bro? Like
Yeah.
what is that
And it also
teaching?
puts pressure on you. It also puts pressure on you just in
Yeah,
case you're the person who doesn't have that. You're like, am I supposed to have that? Should I have that? Maybe I should
yeah,
have that. It brings us another state of confusion. It
right.
puts a lot of question marks.
It's what it really is creating imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
that's the hottest topic that's been the second hottest topic. The hottest topic right now, I think, is uh, probably social media and what it's doing for us. But the second is imposter syndrome. Uh, I've been seeing rooms on Clubhouse talking about this and a lot of deep philosophical things. But the one thing I can share about imposter syndrome that a lot of people forget is if you think of an imposter, right? Somebody who's not stuck to their moral beliefs, they've lost their roots. The truth is, the reason why you're an imposter syndrome, like you're having imposter syndrome, is I talked about earlier, the yeses versus no. You're not celebrating the yeses, the success you've already achieved. So let's say you're 15, right? You may have done nothing in your life. You've made it to 15 years old. You've passed the stage of kid. You're now an adolescent. You've probably developed something that you've enjoyed, most likely, whether it be a passion on your phone, um, exercising. You probably already developed something, but you subconsciously never saw it.
Hmm.
That's the time to pick somebody up and say, "Hey, I see something in you." That one thing can drive you, and they can run with it. That's all it takes, guys. I mean, it takes one little thing, one little action to go from there. I always say one of my biggest quotes, and it will always be my biggest, the power of one. One shot, one opportunity, one thing, one mission, one goal, etc. I mean, when I was on Anchor, I mean, the best story I can give you is I was about to quit the app. I mean, I said, man, this app is terrible. I don't like it. This is back in like 2017, so I want to say I was 18. 18. And then one moment, about 10 minutes later, some random guy comes, I like what you're saying. I hopped back on, I responded, the rest is history. Now I do podcasts, I've won some awards. I don't talk too much about that, but those are good things. Just off of one simple call, right?
Yeah.
One simple call saying, hey, man, I like what you're doing. That put a seed in my seed to know that this app's actually got some human connection. That was probably the biggest thing for my case. It was just where's the human connection? I didn't see it. But once someone showed me the light, I was on from there. And it really is that one thing that we all can do is this is the biggest instrument in the world. It really is. I don't care if you play the guitar, flute. This right here is the biggest instrument. It can either create or
Hmm.
destroy matter at the same time. It can create matter, where you can create an XYZ business or create an XYZ passion, a wellness program, or it can destroy all your hopes and dreams, right? This is the biggest thing, and this is the biggest thing, and this is the biggest thing. And these, that's it.
Hmm.
The rest of your body, you can always shape that, form that, create that the way you want. But never forget that some people don't have two eyes. Never forget some people lost their ears on war. Some people
Hmm.
don't even have their face because they got blown up as a war veteran.
Hmm.
Or some people are, like I said, deaf, blind, can't hear, can't smell, or born with pre-existing terminal illnesses, right?
Hmm.
I was reading a story on Goldcast. I don't know if you guys know this, but I share tons of Goldcast. Uh, oh, you know what? let me type it in the chat. You guys definitely need to check out these stories, and I wouldn't be sharing info if I didn't think it was worth it. Check out these. If you can pin that, Martine, it's incredible. Some of the story, I'll give you an example. So I was watching these videos every Christmas. There was this guy. His name it was Mike. I think it was Mike or Jace. Regardless, he was at
Mm-hmm.
work. He was getting a cup of latte, and he asked the latte. The bartender said, "Here's your latte, right?" But what he noticed in this girl was this latte bartender was she was so happy on New Year's Eve and or Christmas Eve and whatnot. And the guy asked, she said, "Why are you so happy when you're not seeing your family, X, Y, Z?" And she said, "Well, I'm here in the moment with you, right? Christmas comes and goes, but I'm in the moment here serving you." That's just one
Yes.
of those stories, right? Like those one little things. Um, Another powerful story from Goldcast I can think off the top of my head. It was back in November. It was this story about a guy named Kevin Hines. He jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. He was this close to suicide. He thought he could die by jumping off the bridge. And it hit me like, oh my God, a SEAL saved his life. When he jumped, when his body was floating and it was broken and all that, a SEAL came up, a little baby SEAL. It came up and rescued him and kept him afloat before rescue came and got him to the hospital. And what he said after that, a year later, he went back to that same place he jumped off, picked a little flower with his dad. The flower went to the ocean, and boom. You'll never, it's like a miracle. The first thing he saw was the seal eat the flower. So basically, what that's saying is words matter, right? Because during that experience, he saw a guy in the back of the bus. He took the bus to get to the Golden Gate before he jumped off. The guy who, was trying to help him really wasn't. He was just laughing
Mhm.
at him, calling him names. This is back in 2000. I have to share that with you, Martine. But it's just incredible. Like if he
That's
would
a
have
very
just
impactful story. Very
yeah,
impactful
yeah
story.
if he would have just took the five, all it takes is 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes of your day to help make his world a better place or put him in a
Yeah.
better state, or even better, 5 minutes to get help. Listen, we're not all experts in everything. That's why there's professionals. That's where society comes in, right? Don't
Right.
let society work for you. Don't force society's hand. If you let society work for you, seek the help you need, it'll be great. If you force society's hand saying, I blame this on society, I blame this on our government, what are you doing? You're hurting yourself. You're not creating wealth in here. That's the most important, to create your 8 dimensions of wellness, as I like to say.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to start here. And once you start here, it sheds to here. And once you start here and it connects to this heart, you're golden. You don't have to worry about anything really for the rest of your life. Things will come and go. Things are going to change. Things are going to happen. But as long as you're connected here, and you can sharpen this to a single point of where you're on fire on all cylinders, as I've mentioned tonight, you'll feel young in here forever. When you feel young in here forever, there's no telling what you can do. When you feel esteemed, wise, and sharp in here forever, there's no telling what you can do. When both of those connect, that's 1 in a million, right? Or 1 in a billion. 1 in 8 billion. Let's go with it. But the point is, what I'm trying to say, guys, it's been a long night. I'm out of water, but I mean, I really hope you guys learned something tonight. I
KT, this was such a pleasure. And I wanted to say that you are just super brilliant. I mean, having you on the show, it's just, I'm so overwhelmed, really, with
yeah,
joy. Thank you so much. Um, and this is one of the reasons why I love and I'm very committed to having this show, you know, for us to not only make a difference, but to give each person their time, for them to be celebrated, for them to be honored, for them to express themselves, for them to be
right,
heard. I think it's very important. And I'm glad I started it. I'm glad I'm committed to it. And I'm glad I'm seeing it flourish because it's becoming something bigger than me, bigger than us.
right.
There are a lot of other people who are highly inspired by all of the shares by each and every one of you guys. It's not even about me, it's
Yeah,
about every single person that comes through and delivers. So on that note, I mean, it's a 9:35. I
yeah.
know we could stay, but we have the time. But at the same time, every good thing must come to an end. I want to take the time to just say thank you, like seriously. You shared a lot of intimate parts, a lot of different strategies, very powerful statements that you made. And everybody could learn, like Mr. Rance Turner just said, for us, by us. Yes, it is that way. It's always been that way. It actually has never changed, you
Right.
know. If you just have to keep connecting with ourselves, keep looking within, and that's very important. And like you said, affirmations. Um, my whole life is centered with affirmations. Being able to connect and stay grounded. The sun, you can't go wrong. You really cannot go wrong. And a lot of times what people do not understand is that when they kind of lose their sense of self, like they're going through a depression, they're going downhill, it's because they're not grounded anymore. You have to find a way to get grounded again. I mean, you lost energy, you got depleted.
Right.
So what do? You got to gain energy back. Go back to the sun. It's, it's us who apply it. We know very well it's simple, but
Right.
those who do not put it into application, it's a learning curve, and it's going to take time. But this is what basically this is a formula for you to progress in life, for you to really make it. And it's never going to change. It's always going to be that way. So thank you again. You guys have anything, one last question or anything? Because he's about to go, by all means, go to goal.cast, which I'm going
Yeah.
to be writing in the description for this interview. So you guys can all check out Kevin Touch's stuff that he has
Oh,
over
that's not
there.
much. That's just a source for you guys. I like to bring stuff to you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So he did share goal.cast, a source that you guys can utilize, get some inspiration, motivation over there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, like Martine, when you said this show, I think I asked you 2 days ago, what's this show about? I mean, I've seen different people come on. I've seen Chris, I've seen Dwayne, I've seen
Mhm.
Ricky, I've seen all these people, and I want to do a little different, right? Because I know as a person, I mean, between you and me, I can't talk about myself for 90 minutes. I can't go 90 minutes. I can't even go 5 minutes without trying to help someone. That's just who I am. I'm a grounded person. I'm a very quiet person, but seriously, guys, just reach out to me. If you really need anything, I'm not a scary guy. I mean, heck, I even had that situation. I didn't even mention this. I know he's not here, but that whole situation with Chris, we figured that out in 10 minutes the next day, right? Like, all it takes is to reach out. Just because I share certain things, please don't get intimidated. I mean, if that's one of the reasons why you may not connect with me, please know I'm here for you. Like, I'm not one of those people because I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm not going to help you, right? I'm just not going to broadcast or televise that because I know that's
Right.
not right. I mean, if you're coming to me, I think that's an emotional time, an investment. You came to
Yeah.
me, you are taking 10 minutes out of your day. Just come to me. I'm honored by it. Please do that, and I really do want to emphasize that. I try to make this show as much like Martine said. She didn't have to ask any questions. I try to really make it a concept universally. There's no such thing as a bias concept. Of course, there's bias concept, but how can you take every single bias concept and put it into your own spin, and yet still try to deliberately deliver it universally? That's where you succeed, and that's what I try to do. And I hope you guys did everything you can to learn, take notes, whatever. Connect with me on Instagram. I mean, if we're plugging here, check me out, Mr. Kevin Touch. I have 7 Clubhouse invites. Please let me know if you have an iPhone. Gladly allow you to connect on Clubhouse as long as you have an iPhone for now, and we'll connect there. Great rooms. I'll show you my networking plan. It's real easy. Just jump in rooms and have fun. I'll teach you the way. What else? Human Touch. It's at the Human Vision Touch. That's my new podcast. Check it out. At the Anchor Nation. Even though it's on dormant for a couple of years, I'm going to be restarting that. There's plenty of ways to reach me, and there might be a contact thing in my bio. You can just call me. But with that being said, I'm going to give it to Martine. This is the last thing I'll say, guys. Go out there and make a difference today. You never really know who's out there who's struggling. Think about the people right now in this pandemic, right? We're 1 in 8 billion right now. Think about the one person, your neighbor, your friend, online. You don't know what they're going through. Just be mindful of what they're going through and make a difference. That's it. God bless. You guys stay healthy. I mean, that's the most important. Stay healthy.
Absolutely.
Don't get COVID. I mean, I don't want to see people like that. You know, make smart decisions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kevin,
Yeah,
again. Guys, it's a wrap. We're going to end right now. And like I said, you guys got all the tips, all the possible tips you ever needed to hear from Kevin Touch. It was an outstanding interview tonight, I must say. So I'm definitely going to be posting this, of course, and you guys can review and watch and just go through this video again because there's so many gems here. I mean, by all means, and I'll definitely be re-watching this video again, probably a few more times because I love this interview by all means. So thank you so much, Kevin, and we'll reconnect again. See you all next time. Take care,
I
guys.
appreciate it. Much
Okay,
love.
bye-bye.